welcome to New and In Between, hosted by me, Mia Quinn Maddox, where I'll be discussing the hows and whys to my journey towards my faith. I've learned through my highs and lows that this path is not mine to travel alone. Join me mid journey as I embrace my wins, losses, and everything in between. Welcome, everyone, to New and In Between. I'm your host, Mia Quinn Maddox, and welcome. Today, I have my good dear friend, Anthony. Anthony, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for gracing my sofa, recording episode 2.
Here we go. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and privilege to be here.
Thanks. So, Anthony, let's see. I've known Anthony for a really long time. I've known him since he was 12?
12, 13. So
Yeah.
over 15 years.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell our age.
Exactly. No, just a long time. I've known him for a long time. So if I've known him for a long time, that only says how old I am, but we're not going to get into that. But so I know Anthony when I started styling 50. Each one of those artists had drivers. So 50 had a driver, which was Bruce Miller. Shout out to Bruce.
Bruce, my guy.
And then there was your father, Free, who drove Banks. And I don't know who else drove everyone else.
Yayo had his personal guys. They switched.
Yayo didn't have a driver. He just
CK was doing one of them.
So basically, what happened was these artists also had friends that they grew up with, and a lot of the time they were trying to figure out where they could put their friends or where to hire their friends. So, Yayo's brother drove. Yes, he drove for a little while. And then who drove Buck?
I think whoever just flew in.
Deshaun? Or was
maybe
it Deshaun?
Deshaun took over Buck when he came in.
Okay, well, either way, everyone had a driver, and Anthony's father, Free, ended up being Banks' driver, and that's how I initially ended up meeting Free. And then Free would bring you around.
And I was Little Free.
You were Little Free, so it was Free and Little Free. And yeah, so that's pretty much how I know you. You saw me in the thick of it when I was, as in the beginning. You met me in the very beginning. We've been around from the beginning. So
you gotta give yourself some more props. You was the best stylist and probably the best stylist he's had.
I definitely could agree to that, and that's not to take nothing away from the people who style him now, but I definitely set a precedence, and I secured a look, and you're welcome, world. That's all I can say. I mean, thank you, 50, for giving me the opportunity, but you're welcome, world. I definitely, we don't allow ourselves to accept the flowers or to say like I did that. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself for saying that you did something, because we have definitely created lanes and we've done some things in this world. I mean, let's talk about now what you do. What are you doing now? Let's talk about your father's Banks driver to now. To now you guys own your own transportation company. And let's just say that this transportation company that they have is not new. A lot of people started, it became something new, but let's talk about that. Tell us what you do now. Tell us a little bit of that.
Okay, so as Mia said, I do own a transportation company with my father, A Free Ride Luxury Transportation. I also do real estate. I'm a real estate agent in New York City. The transportation company we had this June made 10 years.
Damn, 10 years?
10 years. So
wow, that's a long time. I didn't realize it was 10 years.
And we've been doing it for longer than that, but that's when the business became established. And as you know, back in the days, I was known as Little Free, probably the second youngest around on tour between Marquise and maybe one. Yeah, I was the second youngest around.
Yeah.
And I seeing everything, my father bringing me around and watching you guys work, and like, everybody was working hard around it. And then I had to when I got older, I looked at an opportunity where I can fit the part and bring value. And then eventually my father started driving for 50. Then after he drove for 50, I had to play a part in that once I got 20, and he allowed for me to do a couple of jobs and drive a couple places.
You were 20 when you were driving 50?
Yeah.
It's like you don't really think about the timeline. So I met you when you were 12. You were driving 50 as, and guys, let me just let you know that driving artists is not a simple task. So driving an artist is not an easy task. You are literally attached to this person. And if you are attached to a really big artist, that means you're attached to their schedule, which means you don't sleep.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it was. My first thing that I witnessed was one of the first weeks or a couple weeks I worked the whole day, probably 7 in the morning, and I'll tell you, it's probably 8 at night. We in the studio. Next thing you know, we get a call. He's like, we going to PA. So I'm like, all right, PA might be an hour and 30. It was the PA where it was 3 hours and 40 minutes. And I was like, whoa. That night, it was 24 hours for me. And then since then, I just learned that this is going to be very, very difficult, but I'm going to get through it. And that taught me how I am now with getting up early, getting things done, just watching the people that you're around, how they do their job. You can take that on to whatever you're doing and learn from it.
Yeah, so that is, I did find that working with 50 and his work ethic was out of this world. So because his work ethic was out of this world, then my work ethic became out of this world. If he was up at 6, that means I needed to be up at 4. If my call time was 6 a.m., trust and believe, if his call time was 10 a.m., he was showing up at 6 a.m. Right. Whatever time was the first time that someone was supposed to be on set, I would be coming downstairs and he would be coming downstairs too. It's just how he did. If the rule was if he's up, then you up. So there was no sleeping. So those little things help to build endurance in us. And even too, now that I work in film and television, everyone's like, they're all tired or beat down or they're not used to I'm like, I've been doing this for over 20 years. This is just second nature to me now. The waking up early, the working all day, the nonstop. People don't understand when you work for a big artist that's huge like that. If you don't have ambition, if you don't have a good work ethic, you won't last. The one thing I could definitely say about 50 is he is a robot.
Yeah. And I to this day, for the person I am now, and I'm sure the person you are now, looking back at it, sometimes I haven't even realized the things that we had to go through. But it's not just a huge artist, but the things that they were going through at the time and being prepared, driving in a bulletproof truck, sometimes wearing a vest because things could happen at any time.
Let's talk about that. The whole point of my podcast is to talk about the in-betweens. So a lot of people know of all the great things of and not to say that they're bad things, but the in-between that the people don't know, yes.
Crazy.
What was that? And mind you, you're 12. What was in your going on through in your mind? 12 years old, you're around, had you been around 50 prior to music?
No. So I haven't been. My father was around 50 prior to music. I got around during the Get Rich or Die Trying, Summer Jam every year, then craziness happening. So it's around that time, it's just for me as a kid, I was just experiencing so much at that time. And it's just I'm around people like BMF and things like that, and I don't even know who they are. I just know when I was in the car, they walking by, my father make sure the doors is closed and all that stuff, and I'm just all right, whatever.
You just following what
I'm walking around with chain. I'm taking Banks chain, Buck chain, walking around freely however I want to, and it's that was just the experience for me, and I was just enjoying it. But once it got to the work end, it became a little different.
Because for me, it's funny because even Tim has been in the office. Tim worked in amongst us. Really? I never knew Tim during that time because anyone who knows me during that time, my head was always down.
Yeah.
I'm busy. I am dressing everyone. I am cursing everybody out. Get out my way. No smoking around these clothes. I need to get in. And I don't even think that I really understood the environment that I was in and the people that I was around because it was such a level of respect that people had for 50 that you knew that nothing... It's weird to say, you knew nothing was going to happen.
Right.
Even though it was such a chaotic situation, you knew, you just didn't feel...
Yeah, you felt safe. You felt safe. Safe environment,
yeah. You just felt... I mean, even though, people had on bulletproof vests and,
Yeah. but
precautions, but
he always kept it with us. I mean, like, you know, he had that rule too. If you fight, you gotta go home. So he always had
he didn't
these.
play with that.
Yeah, he had these things set like we're not fighting amongst each other, but because things like that can happen, you got to realize if you're on tour, you've been on a bunch of tours, you're around people every single day
For
for
2 months at a
4 months,
time.
3 months, and that's like being with your sister too long. Y'all gonna get into something.
Yep. We're
But
on the
he
same
kept
tour
us,
bus. We're
yeah,
on the same flights. We're traveling together.
yeah.
Bad moods, good moods. You know, it doesn't matter. You're
It
up every
changes,
morning.
yeah,
You're doing the show. It's like people don't really understand
yeah,
what really goes into like
yeah.
all of the, like, I'm sure people don't even realize, yes, there are drivers. There are people on the payroll that are drivers who get paid to drive these people around, not because they can't drive,
Yeah,
because they can't drive.
yeah, yeah. You got to be prepared for whatever can happen. That's why I'm blessed to be able to work with him because that taught me a lot of things in my business now, to where I know how to maneuver. I know how to teach other drivers what to do. Stay 6 inches away, 6 feet away from the next car to make sure that if you do need to get out, you can when to back in a car. So these are things that I learned working with 50 that I brought into my business now. And I always say, like, sometimes we don't see what everyone else's job details, like for you, like what your job details, what my job details. We all play a big role in one thing that we're focused on. And if something goes wrong with you on your end, it could affect me on my end. Let's say I'm late bringing him to somewhere he needs to be changed at. Now that affects your timing.
Now I gotta
So
rush.
we all play a big role in certain things, and we got to understand that each person is important and we are valuable to whatever we're working on together.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Taraji just recently said that that there's a team of people behind them. We always see the artists. You don't think about the many people behind them. I mean, even in, I just watched. I'm not sure if you've seen or if you took your girls to see the Beyonce movie, but even in that, just you know, we see the finished product and you don't really understand
Yeah.
everything behind it. Like even myself, like I started, it was just me and Tanya. And then now it's me, Tanya, and Tim. And then now I have two sound engineers, Kips and Ja. And then Tanya's bringing in, you know, I had someone rewrite my words so that they are,
Wow.
you know, so it's like all these things that are going into it that I didn't
Yeah.
even know. I just thought a podcast, you turn the camera on, you sit and you talk. And there's
Yeah.
so many things that go into play of even something small like this. So for you being a business owner and a real estate, how do you manage that with family? Because you are married
I am.
and you do
Two
have
kids,
two kids.
two girls.
So tell us how do you find balance as in being a real estate broker, driving, because you don't drive 50 anymore, but you do drive.
Some high end clients.
I don't even know if you. I mean, can I say or can I not say?
You could say
He drives the queen mother of all mothers, Madonna.
yeah.
And we're gonna just say that because you drive Madonna. You wasn't even old enough to know Madonna's music,
I
and you are
know.
driving around a legend.
Yeah.
How is that? Like, how do you balance? You went from one huge artist to another huge artist to also running your own business
Right.
as real estate. Now you're married, which is a whole nother job, and you
Yeah.
have two kids. How do you balance all of this?
Um, it's it was tough at the beginning. I'm still going through this journey, but it's everything I have to put in place as far as like now. Just I still get up at 5 in the morning, go to the gym, make sure I get that out the way. Then I have to give time. I take my kids to school in the morning. Then after I'm taking them to school, I go straight in to do what I have to do as far as work. If I get a few hours in the real estate office, I go in there. But I also set a team around me as well to make sure they can handle the things that I can't handle at the moment. Then when I am driving, um, my time is there. So when someone is calling me about real estate, I'm still answering my phone, but making sure the people that I have placed to take care of the things that I need to take care. Also running the business with my father. So I have to just make sure he's taking care of the things in the office while I'm behind the wheel at the moment and just taking that all in. But it is a lot, and sometimes people don't realize that. And then you have people that call you expect for you to answer the phone every second. And then I'm a person that I feel bad if I don't take your call, but at the end of the day, I started to realize I can't take everybody's call. I can't be there 24/7 for somebody. It's okay to say no sometimes, because I got to make sure I'm keeping a balance for myself and my family, So I have to be cautious of uh, everything that I try to do throughout the day, because at the end of the day, when I go home, I have to make sure I'm bringing that good energy home too. I can't give 100 out in the field and then come home and give 10%.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's not fair to my kids. It's not fair to my wife. So I got to make sure just balancing it out, 20% here, 20% here, 20% here, and then bringing it home, making sure it's good. But giving it all 100%, but 20% in
But
small
not being
portion.
depleted that when you get home, now your wife is getting an attitude
Yeah.
and you're tired
I
and
just
you're
want to
being
go to
mean
sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my fair share of that. Sometimes I still have those days where I just want to rest. But for the most part now, I've been giving my time. Like, I'll try to set a date night. We tried that before. We're still, let me take the word try out. I don't like the word try. But date night, we do date night, and then we'll do kids night activities, have play games and stuff throughout the day, just so everyone feels like they're getting
A little
their
bit of your
time.
attention, yeah.
You know?
Which is important. Now, let me ask you this. The music industry is, and especially coming from hip hop, like it's geared to be single, to be free, to have many women, women to have many men. It's just geared that way. And I know that I've seen and experienced things in the industry that changed my perspective on relationships and men. So I'm sure and definitely coming from a young standpoint, I'm sure a lot of more of what you absorbed is different. So tell us about that, and then tell us what made you decide to get married.
Um, that's a great question, because at the beginning I told myself I would probably never get married. Like, and especially being on the road so long, being away from home, and then you have you were 50 Cent. You have all these women, everybody's around you, and you see all this fame, and you see everyone going crazy, and it's just like it came to a point where realizing settling down would be the best thing for me. Like, after I had my first daughter, that taught me and pretty much helped me to be the person I am today, because that caused me to stop doing things, because I'm no longer living for self. So now I'm living for my oldest, and I have to make sure that everything that I'm doing makes sense, and then I have to make sure I'm making it home safe. So that caused me to not go out. I don't intake in drugs, alcohol, like things like that. So that caused
And do
me
you
to
think
say,
that decision came from what you saw from being in the industry?
well, from the drinking and smoking, I got that from 50, knowing that he doesn't do certain things, and I had to always be on point and prepared for
And I
the
mean
next day.
that is before now.
Now,
Because
yeah,
we could only speak on what we knew then.
right.
Because I know he does have a liquor company. I'm not sure if
Right.
he,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what, I
But for
don't
the
know.
most part,
Yeah.
big. I mean, like
He never
big.
smoked, never
Yeah.
drank.
So I always had to make sure I was on point and on top of my game. So I knew I couldn't have that 100% if I was doing these things, which brung it down to when I got older. I just said I didn't need that, because I did so much stuff before without doing it. So let's continue to do it. So, like, having my daughter was like, all right, I need to treat her in a way where I want her to be treated when she got older. Whether that's opening the door for her, making sure certain things that she's seen in the house, whether it's love and things like that. That's what I wanted for her. So she knows when she gets older what to look for in a man. And I that's when I said, you know what, with my wife, I realized the person I had on my corner, because you go through some things, owning businesses and things like that. And in life in general, we all go through things. And then you see the person that's really in your corner when you start to pivot and go down and go through your ins and outs. So you really start to see, like, whoa, this is who I have on my corner, regardless of if we're going to war or if we're just chilling. And sometimes you got to second guess family sometimes, and then see who's really with you at that time. And my wife was like my biggest fan and also making sure I was on top of my stuff. And it also told me, got in my rear end when I needed to get myself together. So I appreciated that. And then some just told me like, it's time to lock in, because there's nothing else. Like for me, it's nothing else out there. What's out there? It's
But I
hard to
guess
find.
you have to meet that person to make you say,
I'm done.
I'm done. This is it. This is her.
Yeah. And that at that point listen, we got so many things to focus on, business. What am I doing out there? Like just running around, giving my energy away.
Did you grow up in a 2-parent home?
No. So that's a good thing. Good topic you brought up. My parents were separated, so I never got to feel that homey feeling where you come home, both parents are there, dinner at the table. I never experienced that. The only people I seen married was my grandfather and my grandmother, and that was the only. I didn't get to see their wedding, but they were married for a very long time, over 40 years.
That is a
So
long time.
yeah, I knew it was possible at that point, but if I looked at my parents, I probably wouldn't be married. But I wanted change. I knew someone in the family had to make change, so I wanted to be the change.
That's good. I mean, it's so many, and I can only speak for black men because I've only dated black men who have that mentality of, oh, I'm never getting married, or marriage is just a contract, or marriage is, I'm not giving up half of my stuff. I'm like, you
Right.
don't even have anything. What are you talking about
Right.
giving up half of your stuff? And if you're choosing the right person, you shouldn't have to worry about those things.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of our ideas and our examples of marriage, we don't have the examples because our parents weren't married, or our grandparents weren't married. My grandparents were married until they both passed, and my parents, I'm a product of divorce. My mother and father divorced when I was 8 years old. But I do see. I mean, I come from a family that there are married couples, there aren't married couples. But ultimately, for me, as I'm learning, you seek more and then you learn more. So for me to learn about marriage and the foundation of how God wants it to be and why God wants it to be, then it doesn't become a contract. So when I hear people say, oh, it's a contract, or oh, it's this, it's either because they come from a failed relationship of divorce and had to pay out a lot of money, or, for whatever reasons parents break up. For me, it's important because it's how God wants it to be. And
Right.
I feel like we go into these situations and these ideas without an idea. We have television for the example, and music for an example, and like, celebrities who have these huge weddings, and we want relationship goals. Like everyone wants Cardi B and Offset's life, and then when she's on, when she's on live crying because he's
Yeah.
disrespecting her, that's real.
That is.
And it's part of the relationship. And if she's back with him tomorrow, then we all Cardi
Yeah.
Offset. Like, that's
Yeah.
just how it goes, because at the end of the day, relationships are not easy. And I think that people think that marriage means that it's supposed to be like you're supposed to just be
Great life
blissful.
after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just it.
It takes work, and even with that, before I got married, I went through counseling. So me and my wife, I
So
had
individually or together?
together.
Okay.
So I had someone I call my uncle family. They were into that. They spoke to people as far as helping them with their marriage and stuff like that. So I just started going over during the pandemic. Every like Saturday, we went and watched Power or something, and they were just coaching us and teaching us how, like, because they had this marriage where it was just they're always happy, and they cook dinners at on Sundays for the family. So I wanted to get in tune with that, because I feel like anything that I want to progress in, you need a mentor. And I think a lot of us try to shy away from that and think it's bad to say, oh, I had to get a mentor for this. But once we started doing that and getting on Zoom calls weekly, and then we started seeing, like, this isn't bad after all. Like, and then I had to think, like, even if my wife, let's say she took half, God forbid, but she was with me when I had zero. Like, when I was paying Peter to pay Paul, like, she was there to give me what she had. And it was at a time where she was making more money than me. And, she still makes a decent amount of money. So what is it that I'm afraid of? Is that what I'm afraid of, or am I just afraid of commitment?
Or of being a man
of
now
being,
and having to take care of a family and giving up the,
right.
the girls and the wild nights and the hanging out with your
And
friends.
friends. I lost a lot of friends too.
You did.
Yeah, I lost a lot of friends.
From saying no.
From saying no and feeling like, I guess they lived that party life, but they never understood that I was okay with them living that life. I could still be a part of their life. They just took me out of it. Like, oh, I can't invite him to certain things. No, you can invite me because I could have control.
Yeah.
As long as I don't do what I'm not supposed to do, that's fine. I could still go with you into certain environments, but it may be a time where we go out to eat, y'all going to the strip club or something, and I might just say, all right, I'm gonna go home. That's okay. Y'all go have y'all fun. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the part that people don't understand is like I could still come out and have fun in the way that I have fun. And when you guys go off to do whatever else it is that you're doing, then it's like even myself, I used to be, you know me, I used to be a party animal out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday was for Bridge and Tunnel and for tourists. So you didn't see me on Friday and Saturdays, but Sunday through Thursday, if I was in town, I was in a club. Lotus, Pink Elephant, Mansion,
The
Home.
tunnel?
We did the tunnel. You know, what's so crazy. Lauren, my sister, she used to go to the Boys and Girls Club in Chelsea.
Okay.
So she knew all this. So all the security guards in the Boys and Girls Club were the security for the tunnel. So when we would go to the tunnel, my sister, who was 2 years younger than me, I was 18, she was 16. They was getting us in the tunnel.
Wow.
We've been figuring it out for a long time. Okay, we've been showing up to the door of the tunnel and going straight in. Never stood on the line.
What about Cheetah?
You know, it's so crazy. I did Cheetah. Cheetah. When I was in high school, I entered into this contest for 112 to take us to the prom.
Wow.
And they announced the winners at Club Cheetah.
Wow.
So I've been in the club for a long time. But
I only know this because my aunt, like the person, like my second mom, she used to always tell me where she was going, and I would be in the house breaking, like crying, like where you going? And every Thursday I knew she was going to Cheetah or something. So it's like that's why I know about it because
I know you wasn't in there, but I'm sure that your dad and Speed. I mean, we've been this was New York City was the club. You know, it was for clubbing or whatever the case may be. It's totally different now. But you couldn't pay me to go outside. First of all, I have a threshold of about 10, 11 o'clock. And then I have to go to bed because if I can't function the next day, I'm pointless, and I don't like that feeling. So bye, gotta go. Unless I know that I'm off the next day, or like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not no prude or turned into like a real boring person. But I know my limits. I know how much I could drink now. I know how late I could stay up. I know how much I could give this so that I'm functionable for the next day. You know, and I don't care. I mean, I don't have very many friends left, but if you don't understand that, then there's nothing. I mean, bye.
Yeah, I think that plays a big part into the journey, because you start to get in tune with yourself. So just like you said, you know how many drinks you take, you know what time you need to be in the house. So that plays a big part in the journey that you've been coming through because you start to learn yourself, what I need to do and what I can't do. A lot of people don't witness that. A lot of people don't look for that. So that's good that you
listen, because I just couldn't see myself doing what I did 5 years ago, seeing what I did 10 years ago. Different body, different mindset, just everything was different. So, and don't get me wrong, I still have friends and stuff that still party and still, I don't know how they do it. And I guess it's just from constant, the constant of just doing that same thing. But my body just can't take it the same way. And then this point, it's more important for me to protect my space, protect my peace, protect my sleep. Because I know that my plate is full. I know that I got to be up at 3:30 to get to work, and I'm going to work about maybe 16 hours. I know that I'm still working on my podcast. I know that my brain is still going on with other things, and I still got to be there for my family, and I still got to be able to answer when my nephews call. So it is. It's balance has definitely been one of the hardest things for me to learn throughout this journey. Yeah. Definitely one of the hardest things. All right, so you watch your parents, you watch your grandparents, you still decide to get married, which I think is great. Who in your family was your role model?
So one was my father, and then my uncles. Not all of them necessarily was my blood uncle, but you couldn't separate. You couldn't tell me any different. They've been around changing my diapers and everything else, and I think that's one of the things that my father did for me is put me around all these people that showed me the way, taught me, and I think the respect that my father put on for me showed everyone else around him how to treat me. So they wasn't disrespectful, doing anything that shouldn't be done in front of me and things like that. So like my main was most of my uncles, which are very successful, and I looked up to them and seen the things that they do in all different fields. Some may be stockbrokers, some may be in real estate, but I learned things that I could develop in myself that I saw that was good in them. And that was the main thing. And he always kept me around these people. And as you know, how I met you, my father always brought me around. Whether it was he had to do something for banks or something, and I'm in that car, like, and I appreciate that in those moments because that taught me a lot. So I could say my father and my uncles have been a very big influence in my life. And then also the people that I worked for. I look for the good in most people and anybody that I come across with and try to shy away from the negative because that's not what I really want to focus on. I want to focus on how I could take some of the key things in your life or the good things that you do in your life and put it into my life and make my life better.
Where did that idea and way come about? When you meet people, the first thing they tell you is the bad stuff. I'm about to meet you're about to meet my friend, or it's how you kind of introduce people with the bad stuff, or this is my friend. Can she just come? She's going through it, or it's never like, yo, my friend is coming because she's mad fun. Like she's gonna make this vibe even better, or So where did that idea come from?
I think, I know it came from my grandfather. My grandfather is just like, if anyone got the chance to meet him, this godly, loving person that, he did a lot of things. He was also the first African American chef at the World Trade. It wasn't the World Trade back then. It was
what was the World Trade called before?
One. I don't know, but
me neither. We'll look it up. We'll figure it out.
So, and he played all these big major roles, and he was just always loving. And anyone who came to the house, he always opened up the door, no matter what. You could be a criminal that we don't even know from around the neighborhood, and he'll always go, "I know who you are. I know your parents," or something like that, and then he'll just let them in without any fear or anything. So I think that rubbed off on me a lot. And as far as like the lovingness in people, like that's what I look for, because a lot of people come up to me with these stories about whoever I've been around, and they have a bunch of bad things to say, and I just be like, I don't really know that side. Not that I didn't see it, but I don't pay attention to that.
Like that mindset is just a dope mindset because we're not taught to look for the best in people. We're taught to look for the worst in people.
So when you start to open up with the many different people that I drove, I always look at the one thing that I can learn from them. Whether it's how you treat your family, how you treat your coworkers, how you treat your employees, how you treat yourself. I look at each person and how I can grow from it.
And now, let me ask you this: what is your what's your belief system? Like, what's your faith?
Christian, godly, very spiritual, very big in energy, and how I like move and things like that.
Now, let me ask you, what is like? Because everyone is always like, "Oh my God, her energy was terrible." Oh, the energy. What is the energy for you?
I feel it. Like, I feel like if I come across a person, it's very rare, but if we don't connect right away, sometimes it don't always have to be right away, but my inner spirit tells me. And sometimes, like, we don't want to listen to it, but for the most part, when they tell me and I do something against it, it comes out to be true.
You're like, damn, I knew I wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I'm a very intuitive person, so for me, it's like when I meet someone, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but like if I don't like someone, I don't like you from the first second of me meeting you. And I may not know what it is, like I can't put my finger on it, but 9 times out of 10, I'm right.
You're right.
you gravitate to what you are. So I'm picking up the negative. I'm gravitating towards the negative things in people. It's like what you just said, like finding yourself. It's like when you completely, and it's not, I don't think you ever completely find yourself, but when you come to a point in your life where you have peace with yourself and who you are and who you're becoming and what you're doing. People who don't have that same peace disrupt yours. It's like they disrupt your spirit. I just don't have the energy or time to pour into it no more because I'm a queen of making red flags green. I feel it, I know it, but then I'm forced in the situation for whatever my reasons too. Like, you don't want to tell people no, you don't want people to feel bad, you want to include everyone, or, whatever intentions, because sometimes I don't know about you, but I could speak for myself saying, like, sometimes I'll enter into a situation and my intentions are wrong. So when it does not go the way that it's supposed to go, I'm aware immediately, like, all right, Mia, you have bad intentions from the beginning. So why did you think that
It was gonna go
why do you
left.
think that God would bless this situation when you know that your intentions weren't even right?
Right.
So it's like, it's just those things. But, I like to ask what energy is to you because everyone has something different. It's like everyone's talking about putting things into the universe. I don't put things into the universe. I just give them to God because God created the universe.
Yeah.
So why am I going to put something into the universe for him to fetch out when I could just tell him?
Well, I think for me, if I was to say putting it into the universe, I would be speaking to God, and pretty much just keep setting those affirmations to set out there to let him know what I'm seeking,
that you believe it,
and that I believe it's going to happen. And the way I look at with energy is I compare it to, let's say, a garbage truck, right? They come by every day or whatever days and pick up garbage. They go to house to house to house. And at the end of the day, what does a garbage truck do?
Stinks, it makes noise, and then it dumps all the trash out.
It dumps all the trash out. So you have to be very conscious of who you allow in your space, because at the end of the day, a person can have a bunch of arguments throughout the day. And they're looking for that one person to just let it all out on. And I like to keep my vibration high, so I don't allow for that person to come dump their garbage out on me. And that's how I look at it, is that I have to protect my energy at all costs, because anytime you turn on the lights, whether the lights that's on in here, you're getting charged for it.
That is true.
So for you to, even the time and the time frame that I give a person, I'm giving you my time. You're taking away my energy. So you're taking it away from somebody, whether it's to the next person or to my wife or my kids. So I have to be very conscious of the time that I'm giving out. At the same token,
that's
like
important,
this
the
podcast,
it's the one thing you can't get back.
Yeah, it's time. This is valuable to me and to your growth as well. So I look at it as, this is something great, beautiful. I feel good doing this.
Thank you.
But we're giving away time here. This is your time and this is my time, and everybody else that plays a part of this.
Yeah, even the people thank you for who watches, because that's your time. Like, the 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 55 minutes of me talk, I just, I'm appreciative of people who, even if you're working and you got this in your ear, or, I listen to podcasts all the time, just hoping that, this, what we're doing here is someone's going to give us their time, and that's the deposit, and they get something back from it.
Right. I think it's going to be excellent. They're going to love everything that they hear from it.
I hope so. I hope so. And people don't understand. We talk about 50 a lot, and it's not to talk about him, but he played a very big
Huge
part
role
in the foundation of who I am and how I run business. And don't get me wrong, I'm changing things, because not everything I learned from him is the right way, but you don't know what's the wrong way until you learn something different.
Yeah.
And not to say that, it was wrong. It's just what worked for me at that time in my life.
Right.
And if I didn't learn those things, then I wouldn't have been able to succeed and fail in order to move forward to do the things that I'm doing now. When we first started, I even in the first episode, I'm like, I'm nervous. And everyone's like, you don't seem nervous. And I'm nervous. But I'm always behind the camera. I'm never in front of the camera. I've always been behind the camera. But those little things that I heard 50 say is like, even if it's not your best, it's practice.
Yeah.
If he performs the same way for one person as if he performs for 50,000 people, 100,000 people, right, 200,000 people, 1 million people, because everything is practice until it just becomes second nature. And I hope this becomes second nature because I've
Yeah.
been practicing this for a long time. I feel like everything that I've been doing thus far has led me to this moment in order to have a story to tell. And not to say that everyone doesn't have a story, but a story that everyone wants to hear.
Yeah.
So thanks, 50.
You got it. And they have a saying that says, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I believe that's how the saying go. But how you do one thing is how you do everything. Like you said, with whether you're performing in front of 10 people or 100,000 people, you should give your all and your best
to everything.
To everything.
Yeah, that's true. Do you teach your daughters that?
Of course. I have this book that I was reading. It's the 4 Agreements. And I go back and forth to reading it again and again. But it shows you, do your best and all. Although this may be something new for you, let's say, for instance, this podcast, you may not know everything you need to do each episode right now until you build up to later on. But as long as you're your best version of you on episode 1 through 10, it's going to be the best thing ever.
All I know how to do is be me. For the most part, I'm just like, I made it thus far. I made it this far. I made it thus far. I'm still working. I'm still creating. I'm still coming up with businesses.
Yeah. You only control what you can control.
And you really can't control much. So believe in God and let him control it.
Control it.
That's really how it works. Because I thought he will let you control, because I've controlled a lot of the situations that I've been in and had. But how you go up and what you go up with is how you come down and what you come down with.
Right.
So it's important. Like for me, it was just important for me to be like, okay, I got to shed all of that. Let me shed all of what I was. Because then, too, you kind of get caught up, too, with the celebrity of, I'm 50's driver, I'm 50's stylist, you start to lose yourself and thinking that, you are this person's, whatever it may be, but you still have to have skills to do this job. You still have to maintain yourself to do this job. Working for these people is not the easiest thing, because you got to deal with them. You got to deal with their personalities. You got to deal with their attitudes, their moods, their wins, their losses. When that album doesn't sell, when that song doesn't hit, we're around in the most intimate moments. You are driving the car, so you hear everything. You see everything. Being in the car with someone who is mad.
Yeah. I don't think people understand the role of a personal driver as much, because we get to hear everything. So it's the people they're upset with when they leave the venues, the people that they're upset with that works with them, and it's just like, even the family, you get to see certain things that you can never speak
arguments,
of.
But you hear because you think about it, when you're in your car, that's your safe space. And you're on the phone, and when you're around the same person for so long, you become comfortable where you don't even realize that they're there anymore, and you're hearing all kind of things and saying all kind of things. So it's like you have to be a person of integrity also, for the most part, like to be around that and have that much integrity says a lot about a person.
Yeah, it's the way I was raised, so it's certain things you just don't speak of, no matter who it is.
Your business. It's not your business. You
it.
Overhear it, you hear it, you shut up. Like, you mind your business, and that's just that's how you stay along. It's not your business.
Not your business. And then and being in these situations and being around these people has also humbled me a lot, and understanding, like you said, you're around these celebrities and things like that. We play a really big role, but I like to also humble myself, and like half of the time you won't even know who I work for. You won't know what I'm doing. My wife, it took her 2 years, I think, to know that I was working with 50.
Really?
Like, yeah. Prior to I was having my kid. I get it,
because just we know that type, and I tell people all the time, being associated with people and certain celebrities and the things that you do attracts a certain kind of people. And if you are not open to those certain kind of people, then those certain kind of people will latch onto you like leeches, and then you don't even realize that your blood is being sucked, and it's hard to get a leech off.
Yeah. Oh, can I come around? Let's go out to eat. And, can I come to a show? And that's how it all starts.
Yeah.
And these are people that weren't genuinely there with you throughout the whole thing, but they start to come, I got a song I want you to give. Can you just pass it on? I lost friends from that, too.
I lost friends that way, and I've had family put me in a different box also. And I had to explain to people the reason why I was around. When you're around someone and you hear everything, you hear them complain about things that people do.
Right.
So you try not to do the things that
Things
you
that
hear people complain
complain
about
about.
doing. So I was smart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to the things that are being done, and I'm hearing the complaints that come from the things that are being done.
Right.
So why would I do the same thing? I never put myself in a different box. I'm still an employee.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end
Yeah.
of the day, everything is disposable. And it's like, why would you make that same
Same
mistake?
mistake. But that's a person like yourself. That's a person who cared about what they were doing, and you knew you had goals and accomplishments to happen. So you watched and you cared about the person you were working with.
Mm-hmm.
So you seen what hurt them. You seen what they disliked, and you changed yourself to know I won't let this happen. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna make this
No.
mistake.
No.
A lot of people don't think like that. They just
People don't think that
go.
learning from others, like, oh, everyone makes their own mistakes. No, I feel like if I'm around a group of, and this is for me now, just as I get older, I'm choosing. I pray for like oiled friends. I pray for people who are, who can pour into me. No more, no more cracked cups. No more empty cups. You have to be a full cup because you cannot pour from a cracked or empty cup. So for me, it's important for me to be the friend that I want to be. That until I attract that person, and for me to my who I attract is because I'm different. I attract differently. So it's important for me just to, just to make sure, like we talked about protecting our peace. I don't want to be no one's garbage can. You can't just come dump, and don't get me wrong, you and your friends talk once in a while about what's going on, but if you're not talking to a higher power, not every
Yeah.
problem is something to talk about. Sometimes you have your problems, you work through them, you get through them, and it's not even a problem. So I try not to be like, when I started realizing that I was becoming the dump truck for like the garbage truck for my friends, I had to change the truck.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm a G-Wagon.
Oh, okay. Oh,
AMG,
my wife want that.
S63, okay? I'm not playing no games. I'm not a garbage truck anymore. I don't want your trash.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, if my friends are coming to me to discuss a problem, it's to discuss a problem with the goal of coming up with a solution or
Yeah.
listening or to listen to because now I don't go to people unless I feel like you are my wise counsel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just different now. It's like I need you to be my wise counsel. So I don't if I have friends who are just constantly dumping, always with a problem, I'm like, oh my God, we
It's
live
too
the life
much.
we want. When are you going to stop? Or when are
Yeah,
you going
you
to
gotta
change?
want better for yourself.
Yeah, it's like that part. So and it's important for me for my nephews because I don't have any children, but
Yeah.
for me it was important to how I conduct myself because they watch. They're watching.
Yeah.
They're watching everything that I say, any advice that I give. And it's funny, look how God works. I give my oldest nephew advice about his parents or just about anything, and then flip, it happens to me, and now I have to practice what I just
What
told
you
him.
just told him, yeah. What you said a second ago, you also have to teach people how to treat you.
I'm learning that.
Yeah. So I learned that with a couple people. Also, one of the main, my mom, I could say, my mom always call me and she might complain about something. It's just some people just want to let off their smoke, but you got to teach them that I'm not the person to let off the smoke with. I'm not a firefighter, so don't. Like you can call me with certain situations, but you then have to teach them how to treat you. So what I used to do is when my mom would call me, I don't know if she realized this to this day or not, but anytime she'd start nagging, I'll say I have to call her back. Somebody's calling me. I'll say I'll call you back. And then when I was ready to have that conversation, I'll call her back on that time.
And then she's in a different space because
So
she's
now,
not as
yeah.
angry.
So
She's
now
not as annoyed.
when she calls me now she doesn't want to speak about that because she wants the conversation to go a little longer. So now
it's like, I mean, you teach people, you train people. So in the midst of you doing that, she's like, oh, let me catch this.
Yeah.
I'm complaining. Every time I complain, he gotta call me
call.
back.
It's
so
a trigger.
let me not do that anymore.
So
that
now
I can talk
I
to
want to
him
talk
longer.
to you longer. Now I'm telling her I'm going to church on Sundays. Okay. Now she want to take the ride with me. Now we're both in church, and just little things like that. You just got to teach the people how to treat you. Certain things you don't like, you nip it in the bud right away so they don't do it again. All right, you want to do this? All right, so we're not going to talk for a whole month because you're not respecting.
It's setting
how
boundaries.
It's just setting boundaries.
Healthy boundaries. It's like setting boundaries and getting people to adhere to your boundaries without having to tell them. Because I feel like when you have to tell someone a boundary, it becomes a rule. And people like to break rules. And they don't like to be told what to do. So you're right. It's like you got to train them in the way that you know, all right, you did that, now I fall back. You do it again, now I fall back, I might disappear. If you don't get it, you don't get it, but I'm going to protect my peace at all costs.
And you'll realize the people who love you and the people who want to see you succeed and want you around in their presence, they will start adjusting to everything you have going on, because I went vegan for 2 years. So I'll tell people I'm vegan, I'm not eating this, I don't eat this. So every time I come around, I watch the people who would adjust. And like if I go to a meeting in my office, they'll start making sure they have something vegan. Before, it would never be nothing vegan. But now they're like, oh, we got to make sure that Anthony has something to eat when he's here. So people that really want you around in their presence, they'll start adjusting to the things that you're accustomed to.
Yeah.
And then the ones who don't,
bye.
Well be it. Yeah.
I mean, everybody's not meant to be in your life for forever. So, I mean, it's just becoming okay with that and knowing that I'm not I'm not dismissing you or not speaking to you because of, because I used to be the queen of, oh, you did something wrong, cut you off, no more. No explanation, no boundary.
You don't think people deserve a second chance?
For me, with second chances, I've learned to put it in an individual case. Because I've given second chances, like say for instance, I've had boyfriends that cheated. And you give them a second chance and then they cheat again. And then they cheat again. I feel like when you give a second chance in something bad, it just allows the person to see how far they could go and how far they could go again. And knowing that you're going to forgive them, they'll just do it again. So in those instances, it's like in certain circumstances, I believe in no. The cheating thing won't ever be. You get one chance, and if you value me and who I am, then you'll never put it in jeopardy to cheat. So that I won't ever give a second chance on.
No.
But no.
I gave it a second chance.
No, you know why I'm not giving it a second chance? Because I'm 43 now. And I feel like at 43, I've made enough mistakes in being a cheater and being cheated on that I know that it's not something that needs to be done. I don't.
No purpose for it.
Yeah, it's no purpose for it. And if you still are in that realm of your life where you can be tempted or you don't have self-control or you don't have patience, then that just means that you're not the person for me.
Right.
And I'm not going to allow myself. It's just, and that's a boundary that I set. But I do believe in second chances because no one is perfect. No one is perfect, and people grow and people change, and we make decisions in the split moment of something that may not be right or may not. You don't know what people are going through. Right. So I do believe in second chances.
Yeah, it will work for me as if, depending on how much I want it, or I'm willing to fight for it. If a person keeps making a certain amount of mistakes, like, do I really want to invest my time and energy more into trying to help you get better at this, or
because I'm okay with losing it? You're teaching someone how to treat you. You're teaching someone yourself. But then in the midst, it's like, is this person a listener? Is this person trying to learn me, or is this person
not care?
Yeah, because I've come across, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are some people who just don't care. They don't care, like they're selfish. I mean, they just don't care. It's about them, and how it is how it is. And if it's not my way, it's no way. And I mean, and we've all been that person at some point. And the easiest way to say it is to walk in the image of Christ.
Right.
If I was created in the image of God, then that means that I have to walk in the image of God, and that's not easy. And there's trials and tribulations. Image, like, created in the image, like, not is. So in yes, I'm going to make mistakes. Yes, I am going to trip. Yes, I am not going to make the mark every time. But when I don't, I want to be able to say, okay, this is where this came from. This is why this happened. Or this is what I'm reverting back to. Or, all right, I made a mistake. I'm going to do differently. Or the way I act hurts people. So maybe I need to take a look at myself and change that so that I could do differently. It's
right.
If I'm not, I just hope that I'm being surrounded by people that are in that same mindset of growth. Because in growth, when I'm not looking for perfection, I'm just looking for progression, like that you're trying, and that's really what any relationship with me now has to be. It's like we're not perfect people, but I need to be around people who are progressing, who want to change, who want to do differently, who I can see the change in them, who they can see the change in me, where we encourage each other, where we grow with each other, where
accountable for
exactly.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how I
it's
look at with
important.
every relationship. Friends, family, whoever. If we ain't growing together, then we're gonna have to grow apart.
When you really start to understand accepting people for who they are, regardless of what you expect them to be, because our expectations are definitely something that put us into a boat that definitely will take you into the middle of the ocean with no anchor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always close out asking, what is your biggest win and what is your biggest loss? And there is no timeline. It could be for the day, it could be for life, it could be for, your career, whatever the case may be, whatever you feel right now that just pops in your head. What's your biggest win and your biggest loss?
My biggest one would be my family, meaning first off, my daughter. Once I had my daughter, it changed my life. That changed the perspective of how I look at things in life, how I treat women, to allow me to be a husband to my wife. So I'll say my daughter. My biggest loss. I really don't. I would say my biggest loss would be losing my grandfather last year, but that's not really a loss to me because I gained an angel and I gained somebody that's always with me throughout the day. So I don't really take it as a loss. I take it as certain things as a lesson, but that's my biggest blessing, my grandfather. So I had to put it like that.
No, I mean,
but
that
we
makes
don't take
sense
losses.
because we think that death is like the worst thing ever. That's the one thing we're guaranteed in life is death. But when you lose someone, but you gain everything that they gave you, and now you get to practice that, and now you get to feel when you're practicing something that you heard your grandfather tell you or do, you get a warm feeling. That warm feeling that you get, it's like confirmation of him saying like, all right, I see it.
He's always with me. I got this pendant I made right here. He gave me this rock some years ago, and then these bracelets that I wear is be radiant, be the change. These are the bracelets I took off him once he passed away. So.
And how old was your grandfather when he passed?
93 turning 94.
Wow. That means he lived a lot of life. So being the first black of certain things, like first black chef in the World Trade Center. What else was he the
first?
He
did the Million Man March. He been
the original
he was in
one. The original one with Louis Farrakhan. That
Korean War, all that stuff. He partaked in all that stuff. So in a big environment in Queens and giving back to the community. Every Thanksgiving we fed hundreds of people warm plates. We still keep that tradition now. Me and my father. Every year we give out at least 300 to 500 turkeys.
Yep, I donate to that every year.
See?
We'll make sure we add that in so that people could donate. Yes. It's a simple thing, $20, $25.
That's all. I don't care if it's $1. You could help another person. That's the main thing. It's just I'm not big at putting it out there to donate because I take it as whatever I have or whatever we have together. That's what's gonna work.
Yeah, but you only get what you ask for. So whenever Thanksgiving is around again, I'm gonna make sure that I put that. We plug that so that we eat. You got to make sure everyone else does too.
Thank you, and thank you for always contributing to the business because you're always using the transportation.
I sure do.
So we appreciate
I love Uber, but I love a black car. I love the service of a black car. I love that they come, they're suited, the cars are nice, they're always fully stocked with great water and snacks, they're never late.
Thank you.
Doors are open, and it doesn't even matter that's me. They still get out the car and open the door for me. I love the service. The service is what I love about.
Thank you.
You guys' car service. You could go get an Uber, but I love the service, and I also like supporting my friends. So if I'm gonna spend the money on an Uber, why wouldn't I? You guys, and they go everywhere. I live in New Jersey. You guys are based out of Queens. That car is here, okay? On time. Always on time. Nice car all the time,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so what else do you have going on?
I do my real estate. Anybody need real estate needs in New York, even out of town, I work with other people that's associated in different markets. So if y'all need that help. My family, we also have a hot pepper sauce that's hitting the markets.
Let us see that.
It's called the crew sauce. So, as you guys can see here, this one right here is the mild, where we have a ton of different spices. We got the hot. This one right here, you can pretty much give to the kids. You can allow them to dip their fries. You can marinate it in sauce. You can do whatever you want. So it's called crew sauce. Started it from in Liberia. So it's gonna be hitting the markets a lot.
So it's not out yet.
It is. You can find it on Amazon. It's crew,
Okay.
KRU sauce.
There we go, Amazon.
So become a crew member now.
I like that. So make sure you give your Instagram and the transportation company too. Don't start booking up too much, and then when it's time for me to go, they booked.
Yeah, and don't worry, we're gonna hook you up. If they come through you, I got you. Just say you friends with
Sprinters, me. Black cars, Escalades,
whatever you need.
I mean,
we got it in any cities too. We have affiliates. My main Instagram page is Anthony_J Freeman, and the business page is A Free Ride Luxury Transportation, and my real estate page is the Golden Key Experience.
There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed Anthony, because it's been a real pleasure to watch you grow into this person, to where now you're a guest on my podcast. That even I have a podcast. We've grown, and age doesn't matter, because I've watched him grow, but he's also watched me grow. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be part of your life, a part of your journey, and for you gracing my sofa with your story. So
thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you know what I do want to have you do before we actually close out? Can you?
What you need?
I need a prayer. I need you to close us out in prayer.
That's easy. We could do that.
All right, so let's do that.
All right, so we could put our hands up. We good.
Actually, I could hold your hand.
All right, we good. And the rest of the people around, we got this. Lord, I come to you today to say thank you. I am grateful to be able to sit on this couch with Mia and the family, and be able to put positivity out in the world, to be able to get her word across, to allow other people to hear what she has to say and give valuable information to whoever may need this information. I ask that you continue to bless over her entire team, to allow them to continue to grow and prosper and be whatever they desire to be in life, and to continue to gain more information, to give more information out there in the world. Lord, I ask that you look after us, protect us, put your shield around us for this world that we are walking out into, the journey that we have to come, and amen.
Amen. Everyone, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Make sure you click like and subscribe. Make sure you follow the Instagram page. Make sure you go become a crew member and get that crew hot sauce. Let us know how you feel about that. And enjoy the day. Peace.
Thank you so much for having me.
New and in between. Check it out. YouTube. Click like and subscribe. Subscribe. Thanks.